so let's just jump right into this thing, because the obvious thing we need to talk about is that yes, the man behind Ziggy's mask is in fact the Shiki's future self from 20,000 years in the future, or I don't know. I guess you could say that divergent timeline as well. But and right out of the gate, I will say, there was a comment on my last week's video that's saying that Mashima is hyper aware of the community and wouldn't make it so obvious that it's like a future Shiki or something like that. But now with the reveal that it is in fact Shiki from the future, I am actually personally glad that Mashima for the most part has stuck to his guns on this one and showed that yeah, the Ziggy we've known has been a future version of Shiki this whole time. Now, with that said, just pretty much looking at the future Shiki's face, there is a possibility that maybe Ziggy from Ziggy, that if the Ziggy that a portion of Ziggy from another timeline or this timeline, I don't know, had pretty much merged with Shiki's body, and maybe this is maybe the person we're seeing is like a combination of Shiki with Ziggy's with Ziggy's mind or something like that, maybe. But for now, I am glad that Mashima had stuck to his guns on this one, and I had stuck to his guns on this one because I think there is a lot of possibilities to explore just with this idea in itself. Now, with that said, there are a few gaps in logic that still need to be filled in for me, because it's heavily implied in this chapter that Shiki's future self had possibly killed Ziggy and even Mother in the future, but that everyone else died helping him to do it. So it is established that previously all the Eden Zero crew had died in the future. So to that end, I have to ask, why is future Shiki seemingly trying to recreate Ziggy's empire in the present? Is he just I don't think it's just that he's purely motivated by grief or the fact that he's given himself to saving gravity or something like that, but it is because again, it is heavily implied through future Shiki's garbled words while he was in that recovery pod that again, it's not just Rebecca, but everyone of the crew had died in the future. But it's what exactly is motivating Shiki Shiki's future self to do all this? Is it just having to do with Mother? If Ziggy actually existed and this version of Shiki killed him, did that version of Ziggy tell Shiki the secret about Mother, and that put him on this, and that had put this future Shiki on the warpath that he is on now? There's this most of this makes sense, but there's that one piece that needs to be explained, that needs to be revealed to tie it all together, kind of thing. Now, just what is it that's motivating this future Shiki to, I guess, continue Ziggy's work? And I'm sure these questions will be explored from here on, now that we've got an official reveal, but again, there is a missing gap in logic that ties everything together, that I think will tie future Shiki's motives together. The only thing I know for sure is that where we are in the here and now of the story is likely the apex point, where everything that's going to happen in the future is will likely happen, but it needs to be. But now it needs to, but regardless, regardless of all that, I absolutely love how this reveal, for how it essentially has put Shiki into that position of looking at a darker reflection of himself, and gives him a chance to really face his future and show that even if they are technically the same person, the Shiki we've come to know won't bow to fate and destiny by learning what will happen in the future. He will search for that other answer and not let his future or the future of his friends be dictated by another, even if that other is himself. Like that's kind of how I imagine this playing out, and I'm really loving just on concept alone how this can work. Now, with that said, the other major thing is that Weiss, Rebecca, and Homer we see Weiss, Rebecca, and Homer like retrieving their mothers, and I like how Mashima does use this moment for Homer to get a little bit of emotional closure, where we see her lamenting that, well, yes, she doesn't regret disowning Kurenai as her mother. She still feels sympathy for her to hope that she can find peace in death, and ultimately showing everything that happened to Kurenai Homer didn't even wish to happen. I think Homer ultimately just wanted her mother to gain a new perspective on life, or at least hope she would, and in some way just wanted her to find new purpose in whatever life she would make for herself. But like everything in Eden Zero, there has to be some kind of tragedy to it. And in this case, it's that all of what Homer hoped would happen for her and I didn't happen, and she ended up dying just like how she lived. And this just goes to show how genuinely kind Homer is. Like, however much of a grudge I think Homer had on her own mother, she never wanted to wish death upon her, because that's not how she was taught to live by Valkyrie. And again, I like how even now, despite being dead, Valkyrie's presence and her teachings that she instilled upon Homer, even now, are a constant reminder in Homer's life of how to live. Like, it shows people may die, but the lessons we're taught about life do stick with us. And although arguably not as emotionally heavy, I also like how Weiss himself is also kind of coming to grips with the idea that even if she's dead, his mother is like right there in front of him, and he's just been left to like process the whole thing, which also makes me wonder how he would react if he were to learn who Ziggy really is. That aside, though, there's not really a whole lot more to talk about, as we learn Laguna and Jin have successfully shut down Crow's Ether Jammer, and now they've said, holy, all three of them are gonna move forward together in destroying the core, which in itself is kind of giving me a couple red flags, but I can't say definitively as to whether or not Holy is gonna die or live or die by the end of this, like just yet. But there are things in this chapter that do still point in that direction. We also get a tiny glimpse into Holy's past, but stop holding back, Mashima. Just give me more. Give me everything in regards to that flashback. And yeah, it always kind of fun to see Laguna and Jin fight alongside each other and banter, but I like how this chapter also showed that while their loyalty wasn't entirely brought into question before, the chapter did great at like showing that yes, they have found a new home among the Eden Zero crew and have accepted Shiki as their captain. They are ride or die for him at this point, and if he goes down, they're going down with him. Like, again, a very simple thing to portray, but a little more difficult to make it sound convincing. And I did feel their conviction just through their like simple declarations and interactions in this chapter that they made of like protecting Holy. Like, they have become fully realized members of the crew. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Control, push the notification bell, the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of MMA signing off. Later, everyone.